Build your better breakfast at Subway with the tasty 250 combo, a 16-ounce cup of freshly brewed Seattle's best coffee, and any delicious egg muffin melt. And don't hit the snooze on this deal. Right now, come in before 11 a.m. for a $5 foot-long breakfast sub. Subway, eat fresh. The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't
The
care.
BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the Sports Guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. Taping this on a Monday, probably running Wednesday or Thursday. A lot of reality stuff happened the last couple of weeks, and people demand the czar. They need the czar to walk them through this stuff. So right now, on the Subway Fresh Tech Hotline, here to recap not only the end of Survivor and the challenge, but really everything that happened in 2010. The czar of reality TV, Dave Jacoby. What's happening?
Not much. What's up to you, Bill?
We had 2 season finales that we got to bang out.
Yeah.
I'll let you choose the order.
We got to go Survivor first.
Okay. Worst Survivor season ever?
I mean, there's been 21, but it's easily like top 4 worst ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of, I enjoyed it last night because it got a little interesting towards the end, but it was just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything went off the rails when Brenda, the love of your life, got voted off. How are you guys going to stay in touch, do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be hard. It's a trying time for our relationship, being that our relationship was based on me watching her on television, and she's no longer on television.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You have a job at ESPN where you help create shows. So,
Okay.
in my opinion, I think the move here is to create a show for her.
Okay. Well, I think, one of the, ESPN is always looking for smaller sort of subculture sports to really shine a light on, like, poker and the X Games. And I feel like there's a strong competitive paddleboarding going on down there
curling.
in Florida.
Could be curling.
Well, she's in the paddleboarding world.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, you're not doing your research.
I'm apparently not.
Yeah.
I haven't done enough Googling.
So perhaps we should open up, the definition of sport to include, pushing yourself around on a surfboard and with a paddle.
Female host, check. Minority, check. Beautiful on TV, check.
Well-spoken.
Well-spoken and likable, check.
Intelligent.
What show can we come up with? Well, let's plan this over the holidays.
All right, good.
Maybe some sort of a late night show where she goes on location. What was that show with Tara Reid where she got drunk all the time? Paradise?
Oh, God. It had like some sort of punny title, like Wild with Tara Reid or something.
I thought it was called Paradise.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Paradise.
Maybe we do some sort of that show that you worked on, the show where you go to the colleges each week.
Oh, yeah. ESPN
What was that
Road
show
Trip.
called? Yeah,
ESPN
Road Trip.
Look for it. National Championship game coming up.
Road trip type show where she's just on the road going to big sporting events. And you're in an RV with her. I think that's the move.
I don't think that's going to work.
Okay, because you're married.
Yeah.
So once Brenda went out, the wheels kind of came off the show.
There just wasn't much to watch.
It was they had this moment in the tribal council, which I don't think they've ever had before, when Jeff kind of intervened and basically the 3 people admitted they were in an alliance, and then
There's
it was
6
just
people
weird.
up there, and he's like, "You 3 are in an alliance," and he looks at the other 3 who are literally like sitting next to each other. He's like, "If you 3 just vote right now," it was literally like he was doing the strategizing for them. Like,
and they still did, and they still got it wrong.
Yeah, usually in Survivor they're like overthinking everything and like got contingency upon contingency upon contingency. This is the one time they all kind of showed up at Tribal, and Jeff is like, "You guys really didn't put a lot of thought into this, did you?"
Yeah, it was terrible, and there have been a lot of internet rumors that there might have been a deal struck between Jane and one of the people that's why she didn't try to get the counter alliance.
Oh, well, I mean, they should strike deals. It only makes sense. Like, when I'm in a fantasy football championship, the first thing I do is call the guy I'm going up against. Like, look, man, let's work something out here. Seriously.
That's terrible.
What do you mean? It's intelligent.
Oh, come on.
Like a 60-40 split? It's great. Everybody wins.
60-40, interesting.
Yeah.
The guy that I became the most fascinated by last night, who was a drip during the entire season other than when his shoes got taken, was Dan, the rich real estate guy. I don't know where his whole I'm wealthy, I'm an arrogant rich guy, where was that the whole season? That actually would have made it mildly interesting.
Well, here's the thing. I think that he had, first of all, did you notice his skin color at the reunion?
It was not a normal color.
Well, it went way beyond like the snooky, like Jersey Shore orange.
Yeah.
He looked like like shoeless Joe Jackson's baseball glove. It was like it was just like a vintage baseball glove, like a dark brown with like gray cracks in it. And but my thing about him is look, I just don't know a lot of rich people that talk about how rich they are and how expensive everything is.
It happens in wrestling.
Okay, fair. There's Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
Good counterpoint.
That's really it, though.
It does happen in wrestling.
Yeah.
But something tells me that he's trying to carry on this facade as this extremely successful real estate magnate when really he's, just getting along like the rest of us.
It's happened one other time not in wrestling with Lenny Dykstra. And he went bankrupt and has been the subject of like 5 other sports.
We saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought that the center fielder for the 1986 Mets isn't exactly doesn't have the financial acumen that a hedge fund manager does.
The slightly brain damaged. I'm with you. Dan, it seems a little fishy, and I fully expect him to be embroiled in some sort of massive lawsuit in like 2 years. Real estate development gone south, and he embezzled the money, all that stuff. They're doing this Redemption Island gimmick.
You mean the challenge gimmick?
A direct ripoff of our favorite show, The Challenge. What do we do? Do we support this? Because on the other hand, I was like, wow, that's a great idea. But I felt violated creatively as well. I'm
way hip to it. I think it's cool. I think it's going to work. Because I think it adds another level of strategy besides who should we vote out. Like, I think there'll be a certain point where someone who's strong is going to say, vote me out. I'm going to go to Redemption Island and beat this dude to get them out. There's a double level of strategy. But I just hope, I think it all kind of comes down to the Redemption Island challenge too, because sometimes they're just like it's a glorified Scrabble puzzle, and then sometimes it's like a fight to the death, with weapons. So you're kind of putting yourself up, not knowing what the challenge is going to be.
Here's why it's defensible, and as the czar, you obviously know this. Survivor really set the table for every reality show that we've seen for the last 10 years, because it was the first show that came up with the each week somebody goes.
Yeah.
It's set and now it's forgotten because it's, what do you think, 75 shows have ripped that off? It set the table for The Bachelor.
Yeah.
It set the
like
table
sport.
for...
Like everyone was running around playing tag and hide and go seek until someone gutted a pig and was like, hey, why don't we use this ball?
Yeah. So I don't mind that they stole the challenge, because without Survivor, the challenge doesn't exist. The challenge watched Survivor and said, we should do that with the Real World Road Rules people.
Yeah.
And then it went from there.
And then there was also that Forgotten Island season when the challenge was like, hey, why don't we just play Survivor with these guys?
Yeah, I forgot. I blocked that one out of my mind. So Redemption Island, decent idea. I still feels to me like the franchise might be on its last legs.
Well, this other rumored twist, the Russell versus Boston Rob thing.
Well, but so you think that's going to happen and they're not going to do it? They're not pretending they're going to do it, and then they're going to do it?
Did you watch the reunion last night?
I watched it. Sal and I, we just did a podcast where I talked about Boston Rob. And about Amber's placenta, and Amber didn't need an epidural.
Well, they showed Russell and Boston Rob in pretty much every shot, sort of like juxtaposed from each other across the aisle. It's pretty clear that they're doing that.
Yeah, but Coach was there, though.
Yeah, but if I plan on having Coach at every shoot that I do for the rest of my career as well. Coach is like powdered sugar. Just put him on anything, it's going to be good.
Was Brenda, was that the hottest appearance in the history of the reunion show by her?
Well, it's a subjective thing.
Okay.
In my opinion, yes.
Because here's the thing with the reunion is usually we become so accustomed to the natural looks of whoever, and they've lost weight during the thing, and then they show up at the reunion and they've got some terrible hairdo that somebody talked them into. They're wearing a lot of makeup, and it's almost violating. It's like when my 5-year-old tries to climbs into my wife's closet and starts putting on makeup and stuff. Brenda did not feel that way about it.
No, I didn't at all.
All right, so there's nothing really like Survivor. This is a bad season.
Yeah, we're moving on. I'm giving them another shot. I feel like they're going to bounce back.
Let's move on because the challenge is really where our bread is buttered.
Yeah, man.
Surprised by the final winners?
Not surprised by the winners, but there were certainly some surprises along the way. You know, I mean, it was like, I didn't expect the challenge. I mean, like, they keep getting more ridiculous and more ridiculous. Like, they have to run 13 miles, like, up a mountain, like, carrying stuff and rolling tractor tires and solving puzzles. It just looks impossible.
Yeah.
You know, it looks so difficult. And there's everyone's puking everywhere.
The puking is rough.
Yeah, there's like more puking there than like backstage at Fashion Week. It's like insane. It's insane. Like everyone's puking. It got to the point where this went through my mind. I was like, why doesn't everyone just pretend to be sick except for like the one exceptional athlete on the team? Yep. Like it almost got to a point where it's like, if they could just fake this. Like they could just pick the two strongest dudes and everybody else just kind of puke their way out of it.
Any what's the sports parallel to Brad finally winning a challenge? John Elway in '97.
I think that's good. I mean, I was thinking Red Sox 86 years. I mean, he went 8 times in this thing. That's a century in challenge
almost
years.
Like maybe, and plus last year getting beaten up by Darrell. Almost like the Bills, Joe Meade, like your Bills losing the 4 straight Super Bowls, and then the year later getting just punched in the face repeatedly and getting disqualified, and then the year later winning the Super Bowl.
See, that wasn't fair. You gave Joe Meade way too much time to wake up.
That's it.
I think you have to throw him a question, and you have to use his name at the end of the sentence.
He's on Amazon right now doing Christmas shopping. Joe, go back to Amazon.
Okay, I will.
30 for $30. Still available.
Yeah, the Brad thing. And then Brad and Dunbar conspiring to win a challenge, I thought, was one of the upsets of the year. I mean, Butler's half-court shot didn't go in, so this is now the upset of the year.
It was nice. I mean, but my problem with Dunbar is every time I look at him, I can't erase from my brain the pictures that I've seen of him online and his other reality TV appearances.
Yeah, see, I've avoided Dunbar's sex tape, Greg Oden's dong, Avatar, and who else, and all the other dongs. I haven't seen any of the dongs.
Okay, I don't know how Avatar got in there, but that's fair.
I made a commitment not to watch Avatar this year, and I've stuck to it.
Okay, good.
And I missed Dunbar's sex tape because obviously nobody wants to see that. But and who were the women in that group? It was Tori,
Brad's wife, yeah,
and that was
Tyler.
It?
And Tyler was there too, moving right along.
Tyler had that thing where he just decided to put on weight as the challenge went along.
Well,
and it worked. It worked in his favor.
It ended up working out for him. That was his strategy.
It was like, I'm not going to take steroids, but I'm just going to eat 5 times a day, and that's how I'm going to beat these guys.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise of the challenge actually came out in the reunion.
Oh, let's talk about the reunion, because the reunion was much better than the show.
Yeah, easily. Abe and Cara Maria never had sex?
Yep.
That's odd. I just found that to be really strange.
I mean, they said they never had sex, but do we believe them?
Yeah, I do. Weird. That was really surprising.
Where did you stand on Cara Maria by the end of the year? Just in general, in life.
I'm sorry. Sorry for the delay. I was just fighting back the pun jokes. I'm confused by her, and I'm excited to see her grow. It was kind of like Kevin Durant after his first year.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It was like It's like, I see a lot there. There's a lot of tools. It didn't necessarily work out. But you'll be back.
Yeah.
Whereas
I thought she did a good job in the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how she became like the dead weight all of a sudden.
No, she wasn't.
It was like 6 months ago they did Fresh Meat, and she was like the most fit girl there, and now it's like, even her own boyfriend's like, I don't know, we have to carry around this dead weight. It's like, what are you talking about?
Let's talk about Laurel, because she was definitely the most fascinating performance of the year.
Yeah.
The best female athlete in the history of the show, but probably belongs on Bad Girls Club.
Yeah, she needs to be on Bad Girls Club. She's not a sweetheart,
But it seems like, I did feel like she felt bad in the reunion for basically ruining Eazy-E's life with 15 penis jokes.
You can tell that Eazy-E is still carrying that around.
Oh, yeah, he didn't want the hug.
Yeah.
Turned down the hug.
Eazy-E's definitely been to a few therapy sessions where the focus of the conversation for the entire hour was Laurel.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was tough to watch, man. It was tough to watch. My
Were you
favorite
surprised they devoted an entire segment to it? Felt like they could have wrapped that up in a minute.
No, it went on forever. It was honestly like the majority of the reunion was about Laurel talking about Eazy-E's dong. The
dong-centric year.
I like when she's like, there were a lot of other things that went down that day that you didn't see.
Oh, that's the great reality reunion excuse. Like, you didn't see the part when blank.
I'll tell you what went down that day. 2 shots of tequila, like a fifth of Jack Daniels.
Yeah. That's
what went down.
You, some of the challenge people listen to this podcast, and you made Laurel's Facebook page your quote.
Good.
About that, you said something like, she's just a character. I forget. Are you still on Team Laurel, or have you turned your back on her?
No, crazy is right up my alley.
Okay,
I'm all for that. I'm really looking forward to her coming back. If you were producing these shows, would you invite Laurel back?
Yes.
You would build the season. That's like the first draft.
Yes,
for sure.
Absolutely.
She's coming back. She's definitely coming back. I mean, go.
Well, I was just going to say, I think I've had enough of Brad and Tori.
Yeah.
I don't like the marriage teams, and I don't like the guys who have been on the challenge so many times that now they don't actually have to go into any of the challenges because they've been on for so long. It's understood that they've put in the most time and they need this money, and it's all about banking the money. And it's like, I don't want to hear about it's all about banking the money.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't need the money more than anybody else who's on the show. Congratulations, you got married, but everybody needs the money.
I just don't understand. They treat like the hierarchy of how long you've done the challenge for, they respect like the mob or something. Like if I was a rookie on that show, I'd just be like, I don't care how many times you've done this. I'm voting for you.
Right.
Like, why do I have to respect you? This is a new thing,
It doesn't make a ton of sense, but now, so if Brad leaves, then who are the veterans?
I mean, there's a bunch of guys.
Bunch of guys?
Yeah, the veterans, like Bananas.
So Bananas is a veteran now. Wow.
Yeah, they're bringing back Kenny. They're bringing back Kenny and Wes. I mean,
Evan.
I think one thing I always found interesting is like if you watch the reunion, like their whole fallback for everything is like, I'm after that money. Like I want to get that money. Like the reason I acted that way is because I'm after money. And it's kind of like, look, if you're after money, go to law school. You know what I mean? Get a job. Like if you're that serious about making money, like go to college.
Or open some sort of bar in L.A. that's the challenge-based bar, and I'll cut in and throw in $25,000 a piece and try to make it like the headquarters for when all the reality people go out.
Yeah, I would be there every single night. Every night in L.A.
That would get you to move to L.A.? All the reasons to move here wouldn't get you, but the reality bar?
Sure.
Supposedly I'll go to the Saddle Ranch.
I've been to the Saddle Ranch. I've never seen any of them there.
It's a Saddle Ranch, or at least used to be. I don't know if it is anymore. The interesting thing about this season was that it was a successful season that kept my interest every week, and yet Kenny, Wes, and Evan, who are arguably the 3 best. Hey, another phone call.
Kenny, on the stick hotline.
Kenny, Wes, and Evan, who are obviously the 3 most compelling guys. None of them were on this season.
Yeah, and I thought that Bananas came into his own. And I'm looking forward to some of our new people coming in. I'm looking forward to Emily. I think Emily and Jen did pretty well. They got themselves to the final. You can tell when you watch the final. You can tell Emily and Jen were like, "Look, producers, we're just going to walk around for a while, and then you tell us when someone else won."
I thought Emily and Jen were the 2 breakout. Well, Jen had breakout star with a veteran performance because now she's moved into that Peyton Manning 2010 Colts mode.
Yeah, when no one will vote her in. She didn't go to a single gulag.
Yeah, she's nailed the mental part of it. She still remains like a sexual. You never know what direction she might go in at any time. She's almost like the Black Mamba.
Yeah.
Not Kobe, like the actual snake of just you never know where the snake is gonna. Is it gonna strike? Is it just gonna hang there and be coiled? Like you just don't know.
She's crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if she started making out with the cameraman.
Yeah.
And she'll like yell and curse at a funeral. She's just crazy. Like she'll like yelling and cursing just because other people are yelling and cursing.
Yeah. She's been good. And then I thought Emily gave us everything we wanted from a rookie.
Yeah,
great performance. Stepped up in a couple of gulags. and so on. Now, biggest mystery of the season was what was on Paula's chin. I may or may not have Googled this for about a half hour, and nobody seems to know.
I know what's on her chin, man.
What was it?
It was not a chin herpy. I just want to go on record saying
was
that.
Was it a cut?
That's what you're trying to say. It was a cut from that horse racing one. Remember that? It was got a little
so it was a
dicey.
cut.
Yeah, it was a cut. So I don't even know what you're trying to say about.
I'm not trying to say anything. I just didn't know it was on her chin, and it was like there was like a 3-episode section of the season where every time she did a camera thing, she had it was like the makeup person just said, "Listen, I can't even put makeup on that. I'm putting a clump so it looks like an inhale, and that's what's gonna go on your chin."
The makeup person put makeup on there. It ate it. It dissolved it away like it was some sort of acid.
But it was never addressed. I feel like put it this way, let's say somebody hit her in the head with an axe and they couldn't get the axe out, and she was doing the confessionals with an axe sticking out of her head.
They probably mentioned it. Yeah.
They would have addressed that and said, "Hey, this is what happened. This is why she has an axe in her head." She had basically a volcano on her chin, and it wasn't addressed for 3 weeks. And it was
active volcano.
It was an active volcano, and it just has to be mentioned what it is.
It's a good point. She what was up with her at the reunion? Why are you crying?
You forget how crazy she was in the Key West.
Yes. No, I don't forget how crazy she was. She was
really
so
did.
crazy. It got to the point where I was like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable watching this because this woman is going to end up hanging from that banister."
With reality, I watch it, I get into it, and I can't remember one thing about it a year later or what anybody's name was or anything. But with her, I remember how crazy she was.
She's crazy, and she has the emotional stability of Blanket Jackson. She's just not stable.
I went on, some reader sent me this. I should have tweeted this link. There's somebody put on YouTube, it's called the best of the challenge. And it's just it's 6-10-minute clips.
You want to send that to me?
You just Google best challenge, whatever, and it's 6-10-minute clips of the best moments of the challenge. And you forget, first of all, how long it's been on, how many people have been on, and you're the czar, you'll probably remember more of the names. But there are people that are oh, that lady. Oh, that guy. And I can't remember anybody's name.
Yeah.
You don't think of these people after they're not on the challenge. But one of the things that jumped out, a couple of things actually. One was how lackadaisical it was back then. And how, there was a couple of years where you would just get voted out, and there was no challenge.
No.
You'd just be like, yeah, we're going to vote you out.
And then you'd walk off.
Yeah, and then you walk off, and that was the end of the thing. And it was more of a party, and there was one season where Puck's kid was there. This show has evolved.
It really has.
But I forgot, and I didn't watch all the clips. I only watched 2.5, and then I heard my son crying, so I figured it would be time to stop because he was jumping off a cat, and I was like, I should probably be a dad instead of watching YouTube clips.
Well, that's where you and I differ, but fine.
I forgot, and I'm going to say this was the craziest moment in the history of the challenge. You might disagree. What do you think I'm going to say? Craziest moment in the history of the challenge.
I have no idea.
That girl, Julie the Mormon.
I know Julie the Mormon.
They had an event. It wasn't an end of the show challenge, but it was one of those team challenges. They were on that harness, and you had to fight past the other person, and she would try to unlock that other girl's harness, I think Veronica.
Oh, the murder attempt.
Yeah, it was a murder attempt.
Yeah.
It was attempted murder. She didn't go to jail. She tried to kill Veronica.
The camera's right there. And Veronica's a good character, too.
And I think I forgot how absolutely insane that was. And Veronica's just screaming, she's trying to kill me. Ah! And she's kicking her legs, and that girl's just trying to unhook her thing. And had she unhooked her and Veronica dropped to her death, I don't know what happens to the show. I assume that it's not on anymore.
No, I don't think so.
It. But I will. You could go into those clips and you could.
Oh, I will. I will right after I hang up the phone.
CT beating up Adam. CT walking with Johnny Bananas, which was the highlight.
What about CT beating up the sleeping man?
Oh,
do you remember that? It was a homosexual character.
Davis? Yeah, Davis.
Yeah, and he beat him while he was sleeping.
Yeah,
it was odd.
Yep.
It was one. You bring it up, and I think it's interesting. During the reunion, they showed hey, here's some of the fun stuff that you didn't see.
Yeah.
And then they come back to the cast, and the cast is like, yeah, that was the only 10 seconds of fun that we had. Like, we only had fun for the first 2 days. And it had me thinking, like, you know what? Like, I have fun watching people have fun.
Yep.
You know, like, I really think that, like, you know, my man Justin Booth needs to bring a little bit of the levity back to the cast there. You know, like, sort of like a day on, day off sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
know?
And maybe scale it down a little bit. I know it's the 5th major professional sport now, but maybe scale down the athleticism just a tiny bit so people can still get drunk.
Yeah.
Because
you know,
that's
they
when
should have a
stuff
thing.
happens.
It'd be like, look, on Thursday, we're going to have a challenge. On Tuesday, we're going to to Prague's hotspot. You know, so you have a day to rest or something. I mean, they're running 13 miles, Bill. So if someone had your family in the cage over a shark pit,
Yeah.
and they said, Bill, you've got to run 13 miles.
I'd get a new family. It's pretty easy to start a new one. You just remarry and get new kids.
That's tough, man.
Tougher for a woman, but easier for men.
13 miles is a long way.
Yeah.
I'd like end up in Connecticut if I started running 13 miles right now.
A couple other ones, just in the recap of the season. I think Laurel was she wins an MVP. I'm not sure what the title would be. Maybe the Fascination MVP.
Rookie of the year.
No, not Laurel wasn't a rookie, though.
No.
I mean, she was definitely like the one that hardest to figure out. Maybe she's like the Labyrinth MVP.
Most likely to end up in women's prison.
You know what? I think I have a feeling that she's going to tone it down next year. I think it was a wake-up call for her that season. I have a little more faith in Laurel.
Yeah.
We have mutual friends. Oh, wait, that's you. My MVP, though, and this is a guy that I think, and it's funny because somebody sent me a link, and he has a podcast, and he had a podcast last week where him and somebody else tried to figure out who was the Challenge Hall of Fame. They had the first ballot Challenge Hall of Fame, which I didn't listen to because...
I listen to some of those. They're good.
Yeah, they're good. Derek, to me, epitomizes the show. That guy is just a warrior. Love that guy.
And just the transformation.
Yeah.
You know, that we've seen him go through over the past 25 years. Is like he was the crazy one, and now he's like trying to like grow a business, and he's got a son named Awesome. You know?
He does. I forgot that.
He's a family man. He tweets about the Bears.
He had 2 great moments. There was like a 3-on-1 where he had to knock somebody off the little pseudo mountain, and his team was out, and it's just the 3 guys, and it was like, and anybody else just, puts up the token fight, but you knew with him, he was
not even the token
death.
fight. You put me in that position, and I'm just like, look, all right.
Yeah,
Eventually, I'm going to end up off this thing, so why don't I just save myself the Paula Walnuts cuts all over my face?
Yeah.
But he just bears down.
He's such a competitor. And then in the finals, Tyler's got 40 pounds on him. And he's just fighting it. Just fights. Yeah. He's a warrior. He's somebody that I think, I don't know. I just say, with the day that he hangs it up, I think will be a sad day. Because he's my favorite challenge guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think, no one, it's like boxing. No one really hangs it up in this game.
Well, The Miz hung it up.
I'm not sure. You don't know that for sure. It's kind of like Jay-Z when he retires. It's like, you'll be back, dude.
I don't know if The Miz is back.
Well, The Miz has moved on, but something tells me Brad might be back.
I think Brad comes back and is probably single.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think challenge marriages are meant to last.
Huh. I believe in that.
Example A. Danny and the blonde from the
Melinda.
Melinda,
yeah.
Danny and Melinda. It's not a good foundation for a relationship.
You mean reality television probably isn't a good place to meet your soulmate?
I don't think it is.
You don't think so?
I don't think it is.
What'd you think of Maria hosting the reunion?
Thought she was especially feisty, and my wife, who was on email and not really watching it, kept looking up and going, "Oh my God!" and then looking back down, and I'm like, "Well, what? Why do you keep getting mad?" And she's like, "That girl's laugh, it's like the nanny." And then I watched the last 20 minutes and realized she does. She has the nanny laugh, Maria Menounos, very secretly.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought she did a great job.
She did a good job.
I thought she got a little angry at Tyler. She did a good job.
She got a little feisty. But watch the next time. She does she does that. You'll see. You'll watch. You'll start driving me crazy.
You just ruined it.
I mean, she's a Celtics fan. I got to represent. But,
you have to.
But still, the nanny laugh. I don't know where that came from. I'd never seen that from her before. But yeah, those shows could be longer, honestly.
The reunion shows or the actual
I think
shows?
they go an hour and a half.
They could. I'm not changing the channel. I'm really not.
I also think that the actual show could go an hour and a half.
I think so too. I mean, I think what they need to open it up to some more lifestyle stuff, just some more off the field of battle, you know.
And also, what happened to the? I don't get MTV sometimes because I love the recap show that's right after the show. I liked it for Jersey Shore. I liked it for
the after show.
Yeah, I like the after show.
They have
that. I think it should be on every time.
They brought it online.
I don't want to go online. I want to watch it on MTV. What are you going to bump the latest show about pregnant teen moms?
All right, so the guy who podcasts and has an internet column says he doesn't want to go online.
I just think after I watch a show, I want the next show to come on that same channel to be some sort of a half-hour recap show. If we could have recap shows for the NFL and the NBA and all, like if you're going to be the fifth professional sports, I need some analysis to what I've just seen.
That's fair. If you have a post-game show for the other five major sports, I think that's fair.
But do you want to be the fifth professional sport or not?
Or not? Step up. You know, the Bravo does that hard. Bravo goes heavy at that with Andy Cohen. Yeah,
a little too hard. Oh, I'm glad you brought this up because I haven't been watching the Real Housewives shows to me are tough. The Beverly Hills one, I did catch some. If my wife is watching it, if I'm doing something,
of course. You would never watch that show.
Listen, I'd admit it. I've admitted some pretty embarrassing things about my TV habits, but this is one that. I guess my problem with these shows is that the people aren't friends and they all know it, but they have to pretend. And it's like, hey, let's go out. We'll go out to dinner tonight. But it's like nobody likes each other, so it seems very artificial to me. With that said, they had an unbelievable show last week where they went to somebody's house. And did you see this?
Of course. What's my name?
And I urge people to watch this because. So Kelsey Grammer's completely insane wife who ends up, they get divorced as soon as the filming stops, basically. And she's just a nut job of the highest order. She invites her friend who is some psychic that inspired the show Medium.
I mean, I don't know if that's even, like, true. You know, I'm sure, whoever wrote the Medium was like, no, that's not how it went. I met her for lunch one day and picked her brain.
This lady comes on the show. Or comes to this dinner, and it's like 9 people, and nobody likes each other at the table, basically, and they're all trying to play nice. And she starts drinking and smoking an electric cigarette. Which is
the electric cigarette was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Let's talk about that first. I've never seen one.
I've never seen one in my life. And another thing is, if you're trying to quit smoking, right?
Yeah.
And you've got a certain urge. You know, a lot of people say it's like an oral fixation or whatever, so you see someone like grab a toothpick for 4 or 5 minutes. But this woman smoked this electric cigarette for like an hour.
Right.
Constantly. And it was like, it kind of reminded me of those candy cigarettes we had when we were kids that they don't have anymore.
Yeah.
That if you you put one in your mouth and blew it, like everybody did this when they were like 7. I mean, this is how good cigarettes are at marketing stuff.
Did you Google electric cigarette after?
No, I didn't. I think there's only one in the world. I don't even understand.
Well, how do you...
Was it plugged into the wall? Is there a battery in there?
How do you get tobacco out of it?
There's some sort of smoke coming out of her mouth. I don't understand it at all.
It seems like, 1, a fire hazard, 2, terrible for your lungs, 3, I didn't understand it.
It seems just as annoying as someone smoking a cigarette next to you, too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it doesn't smell. It's like, well, you're still there blowing smoke in my face, in my house.
So they make so all these women show up and they all hate each other, and this one girl makes these drinks, and one of the other wives, the one with the British accent, who seems like the only redeemable person out of all of these women.
I kind of like her.
Yeah, I like her too, and she looks like she was definitely frisky back in the day. She makes the comment, and these drinks were really, really strong. These drinks were super strong, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. And all I know now is that from my wife imploring me to watch this, and then this woman saying these drinks are really strong, and now here's the psychic from Medium.
Yeah.
I'm like, this really has the recipe for something great.
Now your son is screaming. It's like he'll jump off of something and hurt himself, and you're not even paying attention.
My son's dangling from the second floor of our house from the balcony.
Daddy, how do you work this lighter?
He's playing with the axe that we cut firewood with.
He took the axe that he took out of Polly Walnut's head.
So they have this dinner, and the medium lady just starts getting bombed. And do you think she's, first of all, first question, do you think she's evil? Like, I really felt like she might actually be evil.
She did, but there was one point when she turned her evil laser on somebody else at the table, and she was like, well, everyone's looking at her like she's supposed to be a psychic, and she goes, something to the effect of like, well, you don't have true love. Your husband doesn't really love you, and you're going to break up with him or something. It's kind of like, really? Like, that's your psychic evaluation?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you got? Your husband doesn't love you? Like, I don't know. That's probably, 100% of the people at this table.
Yeah, it's a table of people who've all married for money and probably have husbands cheating on them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it was funny is the woman took it really personally, too.
Yeah. And
you're going to be emotionally unfulfilled when your kids grow up. And
yeah,
like, what?
Something like that. And she's like, wow, oh, my God, she might be right.
And she just basically turned into a lunatic and then started throwing her credentials around. We haven't achieved anything. I've had a whole TV show created, a show called Medium. Like it was unbelievable. I couldn't tell if she was drunk, like if she was
joking, or she was an actress. There's a part of me that thought she was an actress. It was like one of these like Hollywood types that just sort of like over dramatizes everything,
right? Because
they're quote unquote actors or actresses. That's what I was thinking she was. She was some sort of like failed actress that like kind of had this drama switch that she could turn on when the cameras are around, and like she was just completely playing a part.
She was the most horrible person I've ever seen on a reality show ever, and that includes every show I've ever watched. I watched this show and my wife was watching with me, and we were both like, she was so horrible that Medium, the show Medium, is it Medium still on?
If it was, it probably took a ratings hit that week.
Medium, the producers of Medium almost have to release a statement saying, just to be clear, we're not involved with this lady anymore. She's a nutbag.
We never were. I guarantee that like whoever wrote it like looked up every psychic in Hollywood and took them out to lunch. And like she was one of 20 that he took out to lunch to like pick their brains to like find one little quirk he can write into the character.
And then, so it leads to just chaos at the table. And at one point, my favorite one, the blonde, the sister, who's the loser sister, had to move to a smaller house. And she's got multiple kids, and she was once escaped from Witch Mountain.
Kim.
Yeah. And she's clearly on just a bunch of meds, and there's a lot going on with her. And she doesn't like conflict, and she gets real scared, but sometimes she'll just snap. So at one point, this other lady's yelling at her, and she's like, go puff up your lips. Like it was like her big comeback. She's like pounding wine. It was a mess. It was 20 minutes of the biggest train wreck I've ever seen on a show.
But it was like an Anna Nicole show type of train wreck where you're kind of like enjoying it, but there's a part of you that just feels the darkness in the inside of everybody. You're just kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I want to see this part.
Yeah, because like when the Real Housewives in New Jersey and New York, all those shows, it seems like they're playing to the cameras to a large degree.
Yeah, they're having a good time. They're generally mad at each other, and they kind of know each other outside of the show. Like the same thing with the. Are you watching the NFL and NBA Wives? As you should
I was gonna segue to that
because you mentioned like, oh, these people like the NFL wives don't like each other. I mean, there's serious conflict there.
Oh, see, I'm out on the NFL wives. I couldn't watch that one.
They wrapped it up last night or last week, and like they're all like, hey, I have an idea. Like they're all like set up around this little thing. Let's have a girls' trip to New York City. Won't it be fun? It's like if I'm planning a trip, like I'm not inviting the people that I hate the most.
Well, because the producers tell them to do
exactly. I mean, it's just so like contrived.
That leads to the last portion. So you have nothing else to add on that Housewives thing, or because I kind of ball hogged on that possession. If you want to get any shots on, let me know.
I mean, no, it's fine. You scored.
All right,
let's get back on defense.
Basketball Wives, the last thing we'll talk about, which I had to watch. I actually enjoyed it last year because I came from it from a different place because Evelyn, one of the ladies on it, was Antoine Walker's fiance who dumped him once he lost all his money. And then you had the Shawnee O'Neal thing.
Well, Evelyn is now.
She's now Ocho Cinco's fiance.
Ocho Cinco's
we haven't seen on the show. And then you had the Shaquille O'Neal's wife and
Shawnee, who's also the executive producer who cast this thing.
Executive producer, and Shaquille allegedly slept with Gilbert Arenas' fiance, whose sister was on the show, and somehow legally they couldn't really dive into this in the first season. Apparently they had to cut out a lot of stuff.
They did, though. I mean, it was pretty clear that they all hated her because Shaq slept with her sister.
It was pretty clear, but they never, like, she wasn't on the show because I think they had to not run 2 episodes.
Oh, I believe that.
That were geared around that. So anyway, their big move was they brought in, and this is when it really comes full circle, Czar.
This was a great moment for me.
They bring in as new blood for season 2, Kenny Anderson's ex-wife, who was Tammy from the second Real World season ever, Real World Los Angeles, which now there are college kids who were maybe babies when that show was on.
Yeah, there are people who have no idea what happened. When David tried to rip the blanket off her, she got all angry and kicked him off the show, and David was my favorite character because I thought he was funny. That
was the first reality scandal ever.
That was one of the first kicked off the show. Break the fourth wall. Producers have to come in and kick you out.
And also, Tammy enjoyed it, but then decided she didn't and made a big deal, and it turned into a witch hunt, I felt like, for
Yeah, for sure. It was a bad scene. But now here she's back.
Well, quick background on her, though. She, during that season, she was a gold digger, and the roommates all felt like she wanted to marry somebody who was an athlete or a rich guy, and she ended up being impregnated on the show and having an abortion, which was the first abortion ever in reality history, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then when they had the reunion show, she couldn't attend because she was like 6 months pregnant, and they cut to a photo, and it was Kenny Anderson, who was just on the nets at that point. And it was like, she's pregnant and marrying Kenny Anderson. It was like, wow. This was like a great gold digger moment.
It was.
17 years later, she's now back.
It was the equivalent of when Cam Newton gets drafted.
Right.
She gets pregnant by an athlete.
Right.
Her parents are at home with hats on, Kenny Anderson hats.
So, and then needless to say, it hasn't worked out that well for them.
Well, I thought one thing that was interesting, if you mind me jumping in here, is she did mention, we were going to get married, and the day before the wedding, Kenny Anderson has the prenup there.
Yep.
The day before the wedding, and Kenny Anderson's like, you have to sign the prenup, we're not getting married.
Smart move by Kenny.
I mean, smart move by anybody.
Yeah.
That has money. Not necessarily. Didn't come into the conversation in my case. But
put it this way: if you're marrying a reality star and you're the one who has all the money, you might want to.
You might want to talk to a lawyer first.
Yeah. So, and then she went broke, and she had 2 daughters. One of whom was really cute.
Yeah, very cute though. The older
had
one.
the best of both of their looks, and she was aspiring singer, all that stuff. But clearly, she had fallen on hard times, maybe not financially in as good of a place as everybody else in the show.
Yeah. She didn't parlay the fame from the real world. It was a tough watch. And then they have Kenny come in and talk to his daughters for the first time in 10 years on camera.
And I was rooting for Kenny.
It was a weird scene altogether. It was one of those things that was like, I like watching weird stuff on reality TV, but this is probably a conversation best had behind closed doors.
Yeah,
there's 2 young women who don't really know their father that well, and the big they've been thinking about him for so long, and then you're going to do it in front of a whole crew of production people. It's just a strange thing.
We like this show, though, right, Czar?
NBA Wives?
Yeah.
I like it. It gets a little too far into the Kardashian kind of everything set up by the producers thing.
Yeah.
Any sort of conflict is completely contrived.
You don't think Al Reynolds' appearance was impromptu?
Yeah. Oh, I heard that she said this about you.
I heard you guys had a crazy time in Vegas. What'd you hear? Who'd you hear that from? I just heard.
Know. I had lunch with Sandy yesterday, though. It was just it's a little contrived.
You know what's great about that is that the girl, Evelyn's upset because this girl spilled the beans on what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas. So then they had the apology scene. That girl's like, look, I did not tell anybody who you had sex with that weekend. It's like, cameras are on.
I did not tell anybody.
Except
you had sex with Chris Anderson from the Nuggets that weekend.
I did not tell anybody about the threesome that you had with 2 members of the Sacramento Kings until right now on this show with 6.5 million people watching.
I want to make that clear.
It was awesome.
That crystal clear. That didn't happen. And another thing is listen, everybody. I've seen the commercials too. What happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas.
No, never.
All right? Let's just put that out there. It's a cute little saying and everything. It was a nice little marketing campaign. But, if you murder a man in Vegas, you're going to end up in jail in Vegas.
Yeah. Also, when you think of the moral caliber of some of these women, and the fact that it's a show called Basketball Wives, and as far as I could tell, not one of them are married, except for Eric Williams' estranged lady.
Yeah, I mean, sure, they're quote-unquote married, but they don't, live together or talk.
These are not totally upstanding citizens. For something to have happened in Vegas that Antoine Walker's estranged fiance would be that upset about. It made me wonder, like, wow, something really must have happened in Vegas.
I was curious.
Yeah.
I was curious. I think I'm going to call Al Reynolds and get the scoop.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting a mani-pedi.
The Al Reynolds cameo was one of the reality highlights of the year.
It was great. It's like, they're like, this is Al Reynolds, Star Jones' ex-husband. Like, oh, okay, there he is. That's him. I remember him. I don't know why he's here, but I guess here he is.
I kept waiting for them to be like, we're having lunch with my old friend Jake Pavelka. Was that the guy's name? The Bachelor? The Bachelor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's how random it was. It was like, you're...
I hope Al Reynolds becomes sort of like the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. Like, he sort of hosts the show and sort of like moves the story plot along.
Yeah. So anyway, solid season. So Czar, this might be the last time we talked to you in 2010. What was your reality show of the year? I know what to say.
Reality show of the year. I mean, it has to be Jersey Shore, doesn't it?
I would have said Survivor All-Stars.
No, I think it has to be Jersey Shore. I think both of them aired this year, in fact.
Oh, you're saying season 1 of Jersey Shore?
Yeah, season 2 of Jersey Shore, I've completely forgotten. I could care less.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're right. See, it was this year.
Yeah,
okay.
And they're going back. I mean, that starts on January 6th.
I think this is when the wheels come off.
Yeah, but I'm excited to watch the wheels come off. I'm excited to not care that Jersey Shore is on tonight. I think that's going to happen soon. Well, I'll watch Jersey Shore like 2 or 3 days later. Kind of like, whatever, where's the new cast?
And then, I mean, I guess Survivor, really, the franchise might be in trouble. Challenge looks as strong as ever. Bad Girls Club you were happy with?
Oh, that was my favorite show of the year, for sure. I love the Bad Girls Club. And someone sent me a link on Twitter. Rick Ross, the rapper, loves the Bad Girls Club as well. That made me happy.
The Housewives franchise, I'm not in on. You watch because you're the czar.
I watch. I don't love.
Don't love, but it's serviceable. It services your needs.
Yeah, they need to do like a Housewives All-Stars, where they take the craziest one from every single spot around the globe, and they go on vacation in, like, you know, someplace where you get drunk a lot. Like
Celebrity Rehab, I wrote about briefly in Friday's column. Really stellar season.
It's great. It's a great watch. It's a great watch.
Does it make you want to use drugs more or less?
Less, way less.
Okay.
And I feel like there's a part, like I feel like at some point Dr. Drew, who I love Dr. Drew, he's the greatest human being on the planet. I hope he adopts me. I feel like at some point he's going to pull Leif Garrett aside and he's going to be like, Leif, I don't think we can do it for you. I don't think we can do it. I don't think we are enough to solve your problem.
I wrote this on Friday. Leif is like Jake Delhomme to me. I don't know if there's any going back. I actually don't think he should have been on the show. You should be salvageable to be on the show.
Yeah. I just hope that Rachel gets over her love addiction. You know? I just hope she gets over that disease that is love addiction.
What kind of deal did she get from Tiger where he can't even be mentioned on the show?
Oh, she got a couple mil. I think it's
couple. I think she got like 12, 15.
That's good for her, man.
Because she got enough money that it's basically like, look, you can never mention again that we knew each other, ever, on anything you do.
Yeah,
that's how it played out.
That's ironclad. I'm sure she got some money for it. It's good for her, too. You know, but that's a slippery slope. You get that big check, you fall in with the wrong cloud, next thing you know, you're addicted to love. You're addicted to love.
Would Rachel Lucatel make the Mount Rushmore of reality stars that you've just enjoyed?
No.
Looks-wise, no?
No, not at all. Not so much. I mean, she's obviously a very attractive young lady.
I kind of dig her.
You know who I want to hang with? That Eric Roberts dude who's in every movie you've ever seen, but you can't name a single role that he's played.
He seems like a good dude.
I kind of like that guy.
I like when they have cliques on Celebrity Rehab, and
they always do.
Him and Jason from the Hills and the dude from Party of Five are like
there's a lot of reality show people there, like Jason Whaler. They second line name is like reality show star. Do you remember Frankie from Keisha Cole's show? Never watched Keisha Cole's show.
Yeah, that Frankie was a little over my head.
Yeah, she was on Keisha Cole's show. She's Keisha Cole's mom.
The Party of Five guy made me feel bad, though, because when I watched that show back in the day, I always rooted for terrible things to happen to that guy, so he wouldn't be on the show anymore. So it was always the worst plot of the show.
So I
never wanted this. I never wanted this to happen.
You did it.
He was with he had his wife come in, and It is great, though, in these shows when these people they're so pathetic, they do the whole, my son's everything to me. And then Dr. Drew's like, yeah, but if your son was everything to you, then you wouldn't use drugs, right? And the guy's like, yeah, but still. It's like they have no comeback for that one.
They don't. But that's when they go into emotional freak-out mode.
Yeah.
You can't tell me what's important to me.
Or they just start sobbing.
Everything.
But my son is everything. No, but he's not because you're using drugs.
It's like, no, heroin is everything to you.
But my son is. No, heroin is. But yeah, it's a good show.
It is a good show.
I've been watching on the treadmill, which, as I wrote on Friday, that guy Jason Davis, there's never been a better incentive to stay in shape than that guy.
I'm oddly rooting for him. Like, he's such a jerk that I don't co-sign his behavior on the show, but I see glimpses of, like, a smart fella in there. You know what I mean? Like, he's got, like, a nice vocabulary. I kind of like the way that he's very quick with words. Yeah. I feel like cleaned up in 5 years, me and him could enjoy a nice omelet together for breakfast at some point.
Interesting. Well, yeah. I hope that happens, Czar. Happy holidays to you and the Czar family, and we'll talk to you in 2011.
All right. Happy New Year, brother.
See you.
So I get to sign off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
Thanks, Bill. Geez, after all that witty and observant sports analysis, it's getting a little warm in here. Oh, wait, forget it. It's actually these ridiculously warm and tasty Subway melts. The new Chipotle chicken and cheese fresh toasted on flatbread. And the new Chipotle steak and cheese built fresh from the bread up with melted in flavor. Just look at that melty cheese. Just want to roll up my sleeves and dive face first into the Italian BMT. The biggest, meatiest, tastiest. And melted till the cheese bubbles in meltlicious glory. Subway melts. Melted goodness made irresistibly delicious. Subway, eat fresh.